Hi, my name is Katie Webster. I am a travel curator and personal travel coach with Personal Travel Management in Vancouver, Canada. And I am joined today with one of my favorite people, Erin Rogers from G Adventures. And I asked Erin to join me today and just have like a bit of a casual chat because G Adventures is honestly one of my favorite small group tour companies in the world. I just love what they're doing. I love their ethos. I love their approach to everything that's going on right now in the industry. And I just really wanted to sit down with Erin, share a little bit of our experience together when we were traveling in Spain last year, and just kind of have a chance to share with you some of the amazing things that G is up to right now, and spread the travel dream a little bit for all of us to kind of just sink in and get a little more excited about getting through this time together and still dreaming about travel. So Erin, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I wanted to actually went to Spain together in May of 2019, and so we're really approaching that sort of 1 year anniversary of our trip together to Spain, and it was such an incredible journey. And I just think that was my first G Adventures experience, and it blew me out of the water. There was no way that I could have anticipated how magical and how amazing it could be to travel, with a really connected small group of people, and just the doors that opens for you culturally, and with the food experiences we were able to have because we were a small group, the hiking, the adventures, and just the connections we made with local people. So the tour that we did was the G Adventures Best of Northern Spain, and it took us from Barcelona all the way up into the north. We went through the Pyrenees, stayed in a homestay with a beautiful family in the mountains. We did some hiking to some hermitages, and made our way back through the wine region of Logroño, visited Bilbao and the seaside town in the north of San Sebastian, and finished in Madrid. And it was just a food and wine experience that was like out of this world. And Erin, I know you can attest, like when we were in the mountains in the Pyrenees at Casa Ruben with the family there, the wine was just incredible and the food.
It was the overall experience was just really nice too. It's so different if you've never done a homestay before, that like real authentic connection. I mean, our local hosts were expecting a baby, so they were sharing their excitement with us and also telling us about their families. And I don't know, it's so real, I guess. Like we always say authentic, but authentic that word tends to be a little overused in the travel industry. It's just such a real experience, that like I think after that, I mean, returning back home, you feel like you had you get a real understanding for what the country is like. And also knowing that your money goes to like support a family is amazing. So I love that
Yeah,
trip. And I
absolutely.
mean, the food that we ate was ridiculous. Like, I don't know if we want to make public how much food we consumed in Spain, but the tapas tour just unreal. And visiting the winery to taste El de Rioja was just, yeah. I mean, it's making me hungry just thinking about it right now.
I know, right? And yeah, it's such an incredible experience. I mean, the family at Casa Ruben were so sweet. I still stay in touch with them. Like they're always liking and commenting my stuff on Facebook, and it's just so. And I'm seeing their daughter grow up through social media. So you're right. It feels like when a friend gives you a really good recommendation and connects you with one of their friends in a place you've never been. It's that level of experience, where you really feel welcomed in as a trusted friend because you're showing up with G. And that's so cool because that opens so many doors for you when you travel. Things that you just wouldn't necessarily have access to if you didn't have those connections. So I think that was one of my very favorite things.
Yeah, we always like to say that you're traveling like a traveler, not a tourist. But honestly, with this size of group
Mhm.
and with the local guides that we use and our chief experience officers, it's almost like you're traveling like family when you're going to these places, which I think is really special. Especially now, I mean, at that small group experience is amazing because you're kind of steering off the beaten path too, and you're not going to be with like hordes of other travelers seeing all the same sites at the same time. You're really kind of connecting with those smaller communities that could use the support through tourism too.
Absolutely, and they're so proud to show off, their corner of the world, and that's part of what's so wonderful about it. It's like they don't get a lot of tourists or visitors to those areas, so to have a foreigner come there and be excited about where they're from is really inspiring to them too. So it's just this beautiful cycle. I just I'm so nostalgic for that trip, and I'm so glad that I got to have that experience with you and the others that we shared it with.
So amazing. I need to go back through my photos still. I mean, I dream about the food and wine all the time, but I just need to go back through my photos and recreate it. One of my favorite days actually was when we did the hike. So when we hiked from the small kind of homestay that we did on the Camino de Santiago, or on one of the Caminos, I guess, to Santiago. That was probably one of my favorite days of that trip.
Yeah, that was an incredible day, and we got to visit the Hermitage in the mountains and just learn a little bit about these, super old structures that have been there for so long and just have so much history, and wander through that tiny village in the mountains. Just such a beautiful day for sure. That was absolutely also a highlight for me. And that's what I love about G too, is it's such a mix, like one day you might go on a hike and the next day you might be walking through a city, doing a wine tour. It's just, there's, whatever it is that that destination offers, G's going to search it out and really help to connect the travelers with those things. And I loved how there's often options too. Sometimes there was the more go-getter option, like, do you really want to get active, or do you want to do something a little more cultural, a little more subdued? It was, there was always the perfect combination, because, as you're traveling for a lot of days, it's nice to have some flexibility in there. And that's another thing that G is just so great at, is that, you've got that structure of having your group, you've got your guide. And if you don't want to do one of the particular activities, the guide will give you other options, and make sure that you're equipped with what you need to explore on your own, or, spend a day closer to the hotel, or whatever that looks like for you. So very, very cool.
And that's, I mean, that's
It was
one of the
definitely a
oh,
trip.
sorry.
Yeah.
That's one of the things when our product team and our global operations teams are building the tours. Of course, they want to make sure that you're going to see all of the major highlights in the destination, but they build in like chunks of time for that flexibility and freedom. Because I think most of our travelers are they're kind of more independent than not. So we want to make sure to cater to that. They're explorers at heart, so we want to give them the support that they need to feel safe, but also give them the freedom and the time that they need to go and explore a little bit on their own. I mean, some of my favorite times, of course, are being with a group, but it's also really nice to take a little wander on your own occasionally, just to take it all in. I miss traveling, talking about it right now. I
I
can't
know, I know.
can't wait.
And it's that, it's that place where, as being travel professionals, like, to be perfectly honest, like, of course we all felt like we had the rug pulled out from under us. It's just so unfair. And yet we know that there's things going on in the world, and travel will come back. And it's about being patient and really taking this time to dream and align some of our energies around, what do our travel, like, how do we really commit to travel right now in the future? Because I think a lot of people, we go through life, we get busy, we put trips off. And I think what this time has really done for me is it's helped me realize that, I can't put things off that are important to me, or I will be disappointed, and my life won't be as purposeful and as meaningful as I want it to be. And so it's an amazing time to start looking forward and thinking, okay, this is our current reality. Once travel comes back, what do I want to do first? Or what's the most important thing to me that I want to make sure I do, in case something like this happens again? And I want to be prepared, and just, really lining myself up to have those experiences that are meaningful to me.
And that's what we're seeing in terms of our travelers, is that people are reprioritizing their bucket list. What we're seeing in our new bookings is that people are kind of putting those bigger bucket list items as a higher priority. So instead of saying, I want to go to the Galapagos one day, they're planning that for 2021 and 2022. So we're seeing people plan in advance with our lifetime deposit policy, whereby they can change their travel dates, and lock in those kind of bigger adventures that they've always dreamed about. Because I mean, who knows what's gonna happen? We do know that travel is gonna come back. We just don't know when right now. So all of our travelers that are booking right now are looking at things that are maybe 6 to 16 months in advance, because that seems like the kind of safe timeline for travel, to expect travel to be on the return by that time. So we're seeing lots of safaris. So actually, people are like just all those big dream trips. I think it's also people are at home right now, so maybe they're watching a little bit more National Geographic than they did before. So they're catching up on these Antarctica cruising options or their safari programming and really dreaming about that now. So it's exciting to dream and to plan. I mean, that's one of the gems in this style of travel too, is that you don't just book it and go next week. So you have that time in between when you're dreaming and planning and booking before you travel to really enjoy it, to do all your research. I know you read a lot of books too. I love reading books on the destinations that I'm going to, and I think this stay at home is giving people opportunity to do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that G has that flexible booking policy right now because it gives people the opportunity to, invest their energy into committing to a trip that they really want to take without a lot of finite. And I think that's so important right now
Yeah.
because everyone's in limbo, but they want to look forward to. I used to work with a doctor who was an incredible man, and he actually told me that the psychology of travel is that people actually that anticipation of going on a trip is sometimes even more enjoyable than going on the trip itself. Because once you're on the trip, it's go go go. There's this, there's that. I mean, traveling is amazing, and yet it's that time before when you're planning and dreaming and looking forward to it. That's a huge part of the package, right? And so giving ourselves that gift of being able to be in that dream phase right now with a bit of a commitment to something that we know we can be flexible around is an incredible opportunity. So, and what I love too about G is that, I know like I've talked to maybe some of my moms in the day that was Gap Adventures, that's for backpackers and, young kids that want to go on these adventures, and expanded so much. And I just love that you have everything from, your 18 to 30 somethings, trips that are just, you've got your classic itineraries, you've got your active itineraries, and then you've also got your National Geographic journeys, which I mean, I am so excited to go on one day. The National Geographic journeys to Morocco, and the National Geographic journey to Oaxaca for Day of the Dead in Mexico. They just seem like these like anthropological journeys that are just a little more elevated. You stay in a slightly more comfortable, hotel, and you have these really connected and like well-informed experiences that are on that, National Geographic brand level. So you're really getting, this sort of like, I don't know, I want to say like this David Attenborough experience because that's how I picture it, but I shouldn't name drop people that aren't involved. But just
it's a
that's how I see it. I'm like, I'm going on an adventure,
yeah.
an educational adventure.
It's as you know, Jake, my husband, and I did a Nat Geo safari in South Africa for our honeymoon this past summer, and it's literally like you're traveling through a documentary. Like our CEO, which we call our Chief Experience Officers at G, was certified Africa Safari Specialist, but also has a master's in environmental science. So we picked his brain like every day, all day, not only for information on the wildlife that we were seeing, but just his perspective on the world in general. He was amazing, Alfie, and he's been with us for, I think, 7 years now. But the accommodations were an absolute highlight on that too. And a lot of people, I mean, wouldn't think to do a group tour for their honeymoon, but we had so much fun. We had this like great group of connected travelers with us, but we also had our own kind of free time too. And the properties that we stayed at were like safari lodges and permanent tented camps. So it was just, I mean, it was unbelievable. And of course, we saw wildlife too. I mean, people are not just for the properties, but we saw, I mean, one of the places that we stayed at, there were 3 giraffes that lived in the area. So every morning we would open our door and look to see if we could find the giraffe before breakfast. There was elephants that would come up and like drink from the pool water. And the place that we stayed at that was in the private reserve at Karangwe, there was zebras and warthogs on site, and then we heard lions roaring at night, which was like a little interesting to hear. There was also the lodge guides and the lodge security would walk you from the dining hall all the way back to your tent, just in case there was anything in between, because you're right in the middle of the wilderness. I mean, that was just such a dream trip. I've been so fortunate though. I mean, I've been with G for 15 years now, so I've been on quite a few of our adventures, and I'm always planning something. Always, always, always. So we're toying with the idea of going back to Africa actually for our next trip. So that's where you'll probably find me as soon as those airplanes permit us to, and the governments permit us to travel again.
Amazing. Yeah, it sounds incredible. You know, when people talk about safari and they talk about the animals and you've never been, it's, you know, it sounds incredible, but it's so hard to know what that actually would be like to put yourself in those shoes. And I think it's an experience that everyone needs to have and that I'm excited to have one day too. So well, Erin, thank you so much for coming on with me today and sharing more about G and your own experiences. I just feel so lit up right now, just having talked about Spain. And I was going through my photos the other day because I actually had some printed, and I had this one that's just over my shoulder here printed of a girl walking down the stairs in Bilbao, and it just brings back so many memories. And just so glad to have it up behind me and just remind me of all the incredible travel that's still to come that G can offer and that. So thank you so much. And, you know, I see you've got your map of the world behind you
Yeah,
there, and
I'm
just
planning.
helps keep us inspired.
Yeah.
The planet, this is your planet.
I
And
know.
hot off the heels of Earth Day, you know, just this Earth is, you know, our gift to explore, and it, you know, gives us so many gifts in return. And I know we're all just, you know, so happy to and grateful to have this experience of, you know, being able to get back to travel one day. So thank
Dude,
you again for everything.
yes,
Yeah.
of course. Thanks for having me on. And look forward to doing another trip with you soon. I'd love to do a repeat in Spain, but there's so many other places to explore. So
Oh yeah, I know, I'll be like signing up for your fam trips as soon as they come up again. Awesome. Well, till next time, thank you and take care and stay safe, stay healthy and stay bright, everyone.
yeah, take care. Thanks, Katie.